Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something fascinating, the real architecture of how billionaires invest. We're going to crack open their playbook, and let me tell you, it's a whole different world than just buying and selling stocks.
Okay, let's just jump right in. This chart, this right here, tells you almost everything you need to know. A typical billionaire's portfolio, it looks nothing like what most of us are told to do. I mean, forget a diversified stock and bond portfolio. We are talking a massive 49% in private equity and another 43% in real estate and other tangible assets. You do the math. That's over 90% of their entire wealth in stuff you literally can't just tap to buy or sell on an app.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to be asking, wait a minute, where are all the stocks, right? Where are the Apple, the Google, the S&P 500 index funds that make up the core of most people's retirement accounts? It's pretty clear they're playing a completely different game. So let's dig in and figure out what that game is. And the answer really boils down to one core philosophy: ownership over trading. They're not interested in playing the day-to-day zigs and zags of the stock market. Instead, their whole strategy is built on these two gigantic pillars, these illiquid assets that give them something way more powerful than a quick profit, and that is control. So that first pillar, private equity, that's almost half their entire fortune. Think about that. This isn't about waiting for a company to go public and then buying its stock. No, this is about getting in on the ground floor. It's about owning a piece of the next big thing before anyone's ever heard of it. They're capturing all that explosive growth that happens before it ever hits the public market, the kind of growth we usually only get to read about after the fact. And here's the kicker. Within that private equity space, they do something called concentrated ownership. You know, all that advice we hear about don't put all your eggs in one basket? Well, they kind of do the opposite. Instead of tiny slices of hundreds of companies, they take huge, controlling stakes in just a few. Why? So they can actually have a say, influence the company's direction, and basically steer the ship themselves to create value. This really just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's the perfect way to see the difference. Most of us, as typical investors, we're passengers on the bus, right? We buy a ticket, a stock, and we just hope the driver knows where they're going. The billionaire investor, they're not buying a ticket. They're buying the whole bus company so they can get in the driver's seat, put their hands on the wheel, and drive it exactly where they want it to go.
All right, so what about that other huge pillar, that 43%? Well, that's all in tangible, real-world stuff. We're talking about things you can literally touch and see. Think giant office buildings in major cities, airports, power plants, toll roads. These aren't just shiny toys. These are serious cash-generating machines that spin off predictable income month after month, year after year. It's like a massive stabilizing anchor for their entire portfolio.
Okay, so owning these massive cash-flowing assets is one thing, but that's really just the foundation. The real magic, the real genius is in how they use a special set of tools to juice the returns and protect that wealth for generations. And that's what we're getting into next. First tool in the box, leverage. Now, for most of us, debt is a four-letter word, but for them, it's a powerful tool. The idea is actually pretty simple. You borrow money cheaply, say at 3% interest, and you invest it into something you expect will make you a much higher return, like 10% or 15%. That difference, that spread between what you pay and what you earn, that's pure profit, amplified. Next up, and this is absolutely huge, is wealth preservation. It's not just about making money, it's about keeping it. And to do that, they use all these complex but totally legal structures. Things like holding companies, family trusts, charitable foundations. The whole point is to build a fortress around their wealth that's super tax efficient. It's designed to minimize the bite of taxes and protect those gains, so the fortune doesn't just last a lifetime, it lasts for generations. Here's another one that's pretty wild: direct lending. Basically, they cut out the middleman. Instead of putting their money in a bank, they become the bank. They loan money directly to other businesses that need it. This lets them set the rules, negotiate the interest rates, and get way better returns with more consistency than you'd ever get from a regular old government bond. So you might be thinking, wow, this sounds super risky and concentrated, and it is, but they don't just throw caution to the wind. They do diversify, just not in the way we do. They go for these alternatives, like special hedge funds called all-weather funds, which are designed to do well no matter what the economy is doing, boom or bust. And of course, they hold classic safe havens, things like gold, but also fine art and other collectibles that hold their value.
But look, all these things, private equity, leverage, tax strategies, they're just the tools in the toolbox. They're the what. To really get it, you have to understand the why. And that comes down to a core philosophy, a certain mindset. And honestly, this might be the most important part of the whole explainer.
And the whole thing boils down to this. Every single decision they make is viewed through a lens that spans decades, not days or weeks. It's all about creating real, lasting value over the super long term. And when that's your focus, it becomes really, really easy to just tune out all the short-term noise, the daily market panics, and the cable news chatter that derails so many people. And that really is the heart of it all. See, they don't see themselves as investors or traders in the way we might think. They see themselves as builders. Their goal isn't just to buy something and hope it goes up. It's to invest in, grow, and actively build real businesses that produce predictable, steady cash flow for years and years to come. That's the true bedrock of their wealth. And there's this really fascinating paradox at work here. On the one hand, they take these huge, concentrated risks that could wipe out a normal person. But on the other hand, they are absolutely obsessive about managing that risk. They are constantly analyzing everything, and they hedge those massive bets with those safe haven assets we talked about. It's like a high wire act with a very, very strong safety net.
So let's just wrap this all up. The real architecture of wealth, at this level, it has nothing to do with hot stock tips or trying to time the market. It's built on 4 key things: a focus on private, illiquid assets that you can control, a relentless drive to create real value, not just speculate, the smart use of tools like leverage and tax strategy, and maybe most importantly, operating with that long-term, patient builder's mindset.
It's a powerful playbook, and it is a totally different way of thinking about building and keeping wealth. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on for all of us. If this is the architecture of absolute wealth, what kind of foundation are you building?